Hello all, and let's talk the end of WrestleMania weekend. I didn't do my WrestleMania review last night because I actually did want to wait and do a video after Raw, because after last year I had a feeling probably from here on out the WrestleManias or the Raws after WrestleMania will all be like what we got tonight, all be like what we got last year. And that's a wonderful, amazing thing. And yes, if I seriously, if I can, because I'm definitely going to WrestleMania next year. I'm 100% positive. I will go to the Raw after, because that just looks like too much fun. But anyways, we're gonna talk about that. We're also gonna talk about a little bit of New Japan, their iPPV, their Invasion Attacks pay-per-view, I think is what it was called, which was amazing, and the show of the weekend. Yes, even for those of you that saw the Dragon Gate show, I would put this above the Dragon Gate show. Yes, the Dragon Gate show had better wrestling on it, but the bad on the Dragon Gate show was really, really bad, and this had the worst match on this was just pretty good. Everything else was good to amazing, and you had better production, you had better storylines, you just had better overall show. Just good God. But we will talk about that later. If you're not watching New Japan and you're a diehard wrestling fan, literally there's something wrong with you. Yes, I know the commentary is in Japanese, and that throws people off, and I can understand if you don't want to mess with that. Fine, whatever. If you're okay with that and you're not watching freaking New Japan, there is something wrong with you. Dear God, their next show looks awesome. Anyways, let's get started with some WrestleMania stuff, because that's what most of you are here for anyways. So let's get started. So WrestleMania, of course, started with a 1-hour pre-game show, and most people, the first match we got was Wade Barrett versus Miz, of course, which was we got on Raw. The Raw match was definitely the match we were supposed to get at WrestleMania, and probably the last, I don't know how many years, we always get this, where WWE can't time WrestleMania right to save their fucking lives because of video packages, and that's all it has to do with. It has to do with the, ooh, look at all the charity stuff we did while we were here in whatever city we were in, and they put it on WrestleMania instead of putting it on Raw the next night, where, I don't know, 3-4 times the amount of people are going to see it than saw WrestleMania. 3 or 4 times, and you're just going to stick it on WrestleMania so you can feel good about WrestleMania. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of it. I mean, Barrett and Miz got 4 minutes. 4 minutes is what they got. Can't do shit in 4 minutes. That's a Raw match. And yeah, of course they got a longer match on Raw, but that was definitely, you could tell, was probably the Mania match. I don't know if Miz would have still gone over, or maybe they still would have done a Raw match. I doubt it. But whatever. Can we please get rid of the? I can understand doing video packages to hype up the matches, but doing video packages to pat yourself on the back, put those on Raw, please. Dear God, put them on Raw where they'll actually do some good. Thank you. I'm done with that little rant. But anyways, the other thing about the pregame show was that you had, well, I believe, I think we had Stryker. I know we had JR and Dusty, and we had another guy, and JR and Dusty were awesome hyping up the show, and it was like, can we get those guys to call WrestleMania, because it would have been that much better. The matches probably would have been that much better, but that's not what we got. So anyways, but WrestleMania started. No America Beautiful, because again, they were running low on time. They rushed through stuff because they were running low on time because of video packages. It's always because of video packages. It's the dumbest shit I've ever seen in my life. I don't get it. I don't get why this happens. But anyways, we had the Shield versus Randy Orton, Sheamus, and Big Show. This was good match, without question. Enjoyed it, liked it. The Shield went on their merry way, and they won. You know, my perfect booking. This match either would have been the way it is here, where you would have just put the Shield over somebody else, or Ryback would have been in this match. I would not have put Ryback with Henry, even with the angle they did tonight with Cena, and I'll get with that later. I think it would have come off better with with Ryback finally destroying the Shield. I think you could have done that on WrestleMania. I think you made them strong enough where, yeah, okay, you can finally beat them. You can finally, have Ryback go over, and that's what I thought they should have done with Ryback. Either that, or we'll get to that with the next match. But anyways, but the Shield went over. There was a lot of good stuff. What wasn't very long. You could tell they were rushing through stuff, but it was okay. Sheamus, or not Sheamus, but Big Show, I guess, kind of turned on Randy Orton and Sheamus. He got frustrated, knocked them out after the match, after they had lost. Randy Orton took the pin. Wasn't nearly as good as the stuff from that we've seen from the Shield, particularly the pay-per-view stuff, but they didn't have the time. But it was still a good match. So there we go. Then we got Ryback versus Mark Henry, which went probably a little too long. And they didn't do enough power moves. They didn't do the right type of power moves. Okay, WWE power guys that you have, no more bear hugs, because no one knows how to sell a bear hug. So since you don't have anyone that actually knows how to sell a bear hug, no bear hugs. That's all I have to do. If you probably took the bear hug spots out of this, people would have been okay with it. But as it stood, it was just, bleh. And the ending, what the fuck was up with the ending? Ryback puts Mark Henry up, has him going, and then Mark Henry grabs the ropes, kind of throws himself free, and Ryback just falls. Literally, I thought he legitly knocked himself out, and they went to a quick finish because he knocked himself out. And then got up, did the shell shock to Ryback, or to Mark Henry, and that was it. It was really weird match. But anyways, we did a Special Olympics thing, which was kind of cool. That I would be okay with. If you want to bring out the Special Olympics, guys at WrestleMania, I'm sure they got a big kick out of it. But I will say this: if you were gonna do that, then what they should have done is they should have. And I don't know the guy's name. I should have looked it up. There's actually a guy that does weightlifting in the Special Olympics, that does Olympic, like real Olympic caliber lifts and weightlifting. I mean, to the point where people have theorized, I don't know if he's still doing it or not, but have theorized that there's a good possibility that if he actually had like real Olympic training and was actually training really hard and training for the Olympics, the guy could win a gold medal. I mean, that type of thing, and it never did because his parents and his coach and other people just didn't think that would be fair to put that kind of pressure on him. But yeah, that would be who I would have stuck on there and kind of done a little special thing of myself. But that's beside the point. After I bitched about whatchamacallit, after I bitched about video packages. But I was okay with this because this, they probably got a kick out of it. So there we go. Then we got Daniel Bryan Kane taking on Biggie Langston and Dolph Ziggler. Again, this was pretty good, I would say. Again, it was very short. I loved the start of it. They kind of played off of Daniel Bryan's match last year, but didn't end it quite that quick. But it was what it was. It was really short. What was there was really good. The first probably minute was awesome, and then it kind of just went down from there. So there you go. Then we had Chris Jericho taking on Fandango. Some people liked this match. I didn't think this was very good myself. I don't know. I just wasn't feeling it. I thought Chris Jericho did a good job carrying a guy, but I don't know if the match itself was good. But Fandango seemed to be kind of over. People seemed to kind of get into his entrance, so there was that. We'll see after tonight, though. I'll get into that if he's over now. But yeah, it was what it was. The end was really weird. They botched the end, and it came off kind of looking bad. And that never looks good. So there we go. Then we had let's see, Alberto Del Rio and Jack Swagger for the world title, a match that not a lot of people cared about. But the match was pretty good. I mean, the match, they didn't give them a lot of time, but they went out there, they did their thing, and it worked out pretty good, I would say. Then we had the match of the night. We had Undertaker versus CM Punk, and I bitched and bitched and bitched and bitched about this match. People know I bitched about this match. I will pleasantly say I was completely wrong about the reaction this match got. While at first I would say no one actually believed Punk would win, they got to the point where people thought Punk might win, and then people started going crazy for the match. The match was great. The match was awesome. There was probably nothing close to this as far as how good the match was on the card. If Undertaker can only just do a match like this once a year, I'm fine with it. Let him go, let him come back, do his WrestleMania match, and go off and do whatever he wants, and then eventually he'll say, I can't do it again, and you'll be done. But this is the one match that people actually seem to give two shits about. I think that's because the Taker streak means something. It's built up to mean something. It means something more than any title WWE has. They need to learn that. I know they go, oh, titles don't mean anything. The Undertaker streak proves that titles can mean something. You just have to make them mean something. So, but they can't seem to understand that. So there was some good stuff. There was a table that didn't break, though. There was a couple tombstones, reverse tombstones. The urn actually came into play. Punk tried to use the urn to win, so that was good that they actually used the urn. I mean, the build-up for this match was absolutely horrible. So it's funny that this was so good, and the next match, which probably had the best build-up, was so horrible, which was Brock Lesnar versus Triple H. Both guys came in definitely too big for this match. Brock looked humongous. He looked juiced and jacked up to the gills. I'm not kidding. And I'm sure if you saw the match, you know that. And yeah, it was they both came in way too big. The match was slow. The match was prodding. No one really seemed to care about it. The crowd was eerily dead for this. I bitched and bitched and bitched that I thought this should have been Undertaker versus Brock Lesnar. I still think that was the case. I still think CM Punk, as great as Undertaker versus CM Punk was, I don't know if Brock Lesnar versus Undertaker would have been that much better, but I think it would have been it would have been a spectacle match. I don't know if it would have been a great match, but it would have been something to see. It would have been a spectacle. And CM Punk versus Ryback, which wouldn't need to go very long. You have Ryback win the title, because that's basically what you're going to do anyways, and then have Cena go after Ryback for the title. Nothing wrong with that. So in my opinion, and then but anyways, is what it is. We got Brock Lesnar versus Triple H. Match was not good. I would say it was okay. If I stood here and went, actually wrote down blow by blow and explained the match blow by blow, it would probably sound like a pretty good match. And if you watched it, you were like, and then you realize, oh man, this should actually be working, and the crowd's really dead, and this is kind of boring, and it was Triple H and Orton, though that match was far worse, all over again. I mean, that's what it was. It went way too long. Both guys were slow. Both guys were prodding. It just didn't work. And Triple H went over, which made no sense and was what it was. Then we got the main event. We got John Cena versus The Rock for the second time in a row. Basically, this turned into let's see how many finishers we can hit on each other, and then we'll see who won. Really didn't, no one was really surprised with the end of the match. It didn't need to be. I mean, I completely understand what they were doing, but the crowd was not into John Cena, though they were into the end of the match. But as soon as it was over and Rock, shook John Cena's hand and basically gave him an endorsement, people were done. People didn't care. Yeah. Was the pay-per-view worth $70? Fuck no. I'm going to say that right now. This was a good pay-per-view. The entrances that they did, and really, Undertaker and CM Punk, their entrances were pretty awesome. You had In Living Color doing CM Punk's entrance live. You had Undertaker coming out, and you had I don't know, like demons or like the fallen people. Coming out from under the ground and trying to grab him as he walked by. It was just an awesome visual. I mean, it was like one of the most subtle of his entrances, but probably one of the best entrances. Triple H got a wacky entrance, but John Cena and Rock really didn't get a big entrance. So you definitely tell they were trying to rush through things. You also had there was. Get puffy, which didn't work. Just I don't know. the show, it definitely, I don't know. I was at last year's show, and that concert I thought was a little better, and this wasn't. So there you go. The In Living Color thing came off much better than this did. So it was just, it was, you know, it was a good show. It was a great spectacle. The wrestling wasn't there, and it was a okay WrestleMania, I would say, but definitely not worth $70. No question whatsoever. So then we go to Raw, and of course, not sure what's really going on, but Rock was not there. Lots of reports, even before WWE said so, that he is hurt, and that that's why he was not there. You don't know so much about that, but anyways. But we did get, you know, the super bizarro world Raw that is the Raw after WrestleMania. That I would definitely say that's what it is. I don't even know if you could call it that, because, you know, you've got the hardest of the hardcores there. You've got the most. You got these fans from around the world. They're all in one place. It's the only way I could explain it was back in ECW's heyday, especially after the Barely Legal pay-per-view. I remember reading, you know, reports and reading reviews, and you had a lot of people that kind of knew ECW or followed ECW, and they were doing pay-per-view reports, and they said, if you've never seen an ECW show before, the crowd is like this super hot, mega smart, insane crowd. And there's only maybe a 1/10 of what is at a WWE show. But these people are like 10 times more into matches and are better fans than a lot of the crowd, or better crowd than, I shouldn't say better fans, but a better crowd, about 10 times better crowd than what you get at a typical WWE show or WWF show. That's on. This was like you took an ECW crowd and you filled it in an arena and you just let them go crazy. And this was insanity. This was insanity. You had John Cena coming out, kind of joking around, playing, you know, talked about doing some dancing, maybe turning a heel a little bit, and or a little heel turn, I think is what he said. I'll do a little heel turn, and that was funny. Not gonna lie, that was funny. So this all wound up him. Mark Henry came out. He challenged Mark Henry, or Mark Henry challenged him. Booker T came out and said, well, you can't have a title match. You can have a match to determine if you can beat John Cena, then you'll be the #1 contender and you'll get a title shot. So that's what we had. It was okay. Then we had Daniel Bryan and Big E, which was very short, and Big E Langston went over. So it was what it was. They're big on him, so not too big of a shock there. Then we had the Intercontinental title rematch, which I've already talked about, where Wade Barrett went over. This was definitely much better match. Wade Barrett busted his ass in this match. You know, he did mess up a mat thing, but you know, they need to get behind Wade Barrett. He has everything they look for. The one thing he doesn't have is he's not the best guy in the ring. But you know what? He's as good as some of the other people they've pushed before, and he's much better than a lot of the other people that they've tried to push to the moon. So I'm not exactly sure what the deal is with that. We had Alberto Del Rio and Jack Swagger match, which rematch with Zeb Coulter. It really was a handicap match with Zeb Coulter, but Zeb Coulter was never actually in the match. Swagger killed Alberto Del Rio's leg. Swagger lost, but then Ziggler finally came out, cashed his money in the bank. That place went insane. That place was going apeshit when he came out, and then when he won, they went like you would have thought this guy was a face. I mean, it was that sort of just insanity. They had hinted that the Shield was going to be there, and Undertaker. Undertaker was doing a promo. Shield came out, and then Daniel Bryan and Kane came and made the save. If we get that at the next pay-per-view, I will order that pay-per-view, because that will be fun to see. The Shield taking on Undertaker and Kane, and then you throw Daniel Bryan in there probably to do maybe the a lot of the work, and you throw it in Extreme Rules where they're going to put a gimmick in there. Fuck yeah. I can go for that. we got a stupid 6-man that made no sense whatsoever. Not even sure why I was on other than just get these guys on TV. But yeah, it was kind of what it was. Then we got Randy Orton versus Sheamus, and these fans in this arena could have given two fucks. We got an Ole chant. An Ole chant. Announcers had no clue. I mean, they had, oh, it's a vocal crowd. It's, it's one of these, it's after WrestleMania crowds. It's always vocal. It's always crazy. It's always, these fans doing what they. This went beyond anything we have ever seen. Oh my dear! If you did not see Raw, this is why you get Raw. Because after this, the crowd just said, "Fuck it, we're taking over the show," and that's exactly what they did. This was even beyond what happened last year with Daniel Bryan. Now, there was no purpose to this other than just them saying, you know what, we're just going to entertain ourselves, and that's what they did. It wasn't like they were pissed off about Daniel Bryan, and they were like, fuck, we're going to do this. But you had, they could have given two shits what was going on in the ring. You had Ole chants, you had RVD chants, you had JBL chants, you had Michael Cole chants, you had the ref getting chants, you had Randy Savage, RVD, Ole. You had a wave getting started, all sorts of stuff. And you can tell neither guy knew what the fuck to do. And then Big Show comes out after who knows how long, and this one way too long. Big Show comes out to a thank you Big Show chant. And they were actually chanting please end the match and all sorts of wild stuff. It was insane. Insane. And it only got more insane after the match. So Big Show came out, destroyed both of them. That'll lead to a three-way, I'm sure, a three-way, I'm sure. Then Fandango came out to do his Raw debut against Kofi Kingston, and this crowd, after Fandango is in the ring, the bells start, the right start singing Fandango's theme song. Fandango starts, going, hey, look. And so he starts dancing. It was the most insane thing I'd ever seen in my life. Then Chris Jericho came out. The crowd went crazy. They were he destroyed Fandango after that, Fandango did his little thing. This guy was like the most over guy of the night. It's insane. It was insanity. No question about it. You had the 8-person tag we were supposed to have from the night before, which got bumped. Didn't go very long. They were still they didn't give two shits about this, as you would expect. So there you go. Then we had Mark Henry versus John Cena. This was pretty nuts. In that they were still chanting for Fandango. They were like, we don't give a shit. We're just going to go out there. We're going to do our thing. Ended in a count out. They didn't care. Then Ryback came out, saved John Cena from Mark Henry, then attacked John Cena, to which this crowd, you would have thought Ryback was Goldberg. They went apeshit for this. They were going nuts. They were, because he kept saying, feed me more, feed me more. This was, you have to see this Raw. You have to see it. This is something, it flies by. It doesn't feel like it's 3 hours. Feels like it just flies by. It's entertaining. We'll probably go back to regular Raws next week. But dear God, every single year we get this. And the fans that go, thank you. You guys are awesome. There's no doubt about that. So now, let's talk about the show of the weekend, I should say. Maybe not week, but probably the week too. This was better than the Dragon Gate show, like I said. And again, as I've said, if you are not watching the New Japan iPay-per-views, which are on Ustream, I don't think I've heard of anyone having any issues with these, mainly because they're actually from real arenas, so they actually have real, fiber optics and internet things, and they have real feeds, and they have everything set up that you need to do an iPay-per-view correctly. Even though WWE even had problems this week, so who knows. But they haven't had an issue that I know of. And this show, it wasn't as good as the Tokyo Dome show, which the Tokyo Dome show is literally like Wrestlemania. So you have all these elaborate sets and all this stuff that you don't normally have on a regular New Japan show. A lot of pageantry. But the wrestling, arguably, you could argue, was better on the show on this show than was on the New Japan show or on the Tokyo Dome show, because Tokyo Dome show did have a couple of matches. This didn't. The worst match of the show was the Rob Conway match, and it was still pretty good, I would say, but everything else was good to fucking amazing, and I mean fucking amazing. But let's get started. First, we had Alex Shelley. Most of you remember Alex Shelley, and KUSHIDA taking on Prince Devitt and Taguchi and for the defending IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag Titles, in which they won. Prince Devitt finally went heel. He's been teasing going heel for a while. He finally went heel. The match itself was really good. And then you had the heel turn, which was even better. And then he attacks Taguchi, and that was cool. Then you had Devitt. I can't even think of the guy's name. Devitt has a new like bodyguard type guy who destroyed everybody. Then they destroyed Captain New Japan, took off his mask, and then Devitt stuck his mask down the back of his shorts, and on his ass. It was good stuff. Good stuff. Just good. You had a good fun opener, and then on top of that you had a really great angle, which eventually, hopefully, won't be on the next iPPV because they got to finish the Taguchi stuff. But as far as that, but we'll probably end up getting more Devitt versus Tanahashi. That's good. That's good stuff right there. Anyways, then we had a 8-man, I believe. Yeah, Tenzan, Akebono, Nakanishi, and Super Strong Machine taking on Sapp, Iizuka, Ishii, and YOSHI-HASHI. This was good too. This was so much better than any right to be. This was so much better than the similar match they had at the Tokyo Dome show. This was just a good match. It was just really just fun. The Akebono Sapp stuff was horrible, but so much fun. I mean, it was just like them just running into each other, just being two big dudes just beating the tar out of each other. It was good stuff. Then we had the CML World Tag Titles match. Terible and Tonga, who I really like, and I'm surprised that WWE hasn't signed him, taking on La Mascara and Valiente. This was a really good lucha match, I felt, for a non-lucha crowd. Just a good little fun match, a lot of good spots. Valiente was going nuts. Just good stuff. Good stuff. Just good lucha match. Then we had Masato Tanaka taking on Takashi taking on Makabe and Hama. This was another fun match. Basically was to set up Tanaka and Hanuma, and that would, which will be on the next pay-per-view, which looks to be fucking awesome. That match should be good stuff. So yeah, that'll be good. Then we had Suzuki taking on Yano, and this was good too. This was Suzuki. They basically were pushing for Suzuki to get the next title shot, so made him look really strong. Take his heel, came off really good. So there you go. Then we had what could have been the match of the night, except it wasn't. And let me explain why it wasn't. Because it had nothing to. We had Nagata and Goto taking on Sakuraba and Shibata. This match started out fucking awesome. First, like 10 minutes, oh my god, you thought someone was going to die. And literally, someone almost died. Nagata and Sakuraba were in there and oh my god, I was marking out. And Nagata did a overhead belly to belly, and Sakuraba landed wrong, either broke or dislocated his elbow. I think he dislocated it because he's laying there, his elbow's all just like fucked, and so they end the match. He rolls over. They're like, the doctors are messing with it, and then they have a little bit of a stare down with Shibata and both Goto and Nagata, and I don't even know how this is possible. If you've seen it, I don't even know how this is possible. But Sakuraba gets up. He's got his elbow's all taped up. He's got ice bags all over it. Looks like it was broken to shit. But like I said, it may have just been dislocated really bad, but it looks like it was just broken to shit. And but still, what was part of this was awesome. It just wasn't very long. The ending killed it, but dear God. Then we got Rob Kamui taking on Kojima. This was pretty good. This was the weakest. This was the weakest of all of the matches. It was a really slow kind of prodding match. Still was pretty good. It wasn't bad. It wasn't boring by any stretch of the imagination. It was just kind of just there. But it was what it was. Then we had Nakamura taking on Davey Boy Smith Jr., Harry Smith. This was great. Smith is so much better asleep than WWE. You can tell that him getting out of there was a good thing. And Nakamura, even though I pray for the days when we'll get, face Nakamura back, as I just don't like heel Nakamura. This was still really, really good, and I really enjoyed it. So there we go. Then we got the main event. Holy fuck, was this awesome. Okada taking on Tanahashi. Okada finally won the match, the belt, which he probably should have won at the Dome show. But dear God, this was awesome. You need to go watch this match right now. This was match of the year quality, good stuff. Just lots of drama, just awesome stuff. And the next iPPV looks like it's going to be the stuff, because you're going to get Okada taking on Suzuki, Tanaka taking on Hanma, and they announced Goto taking on Shibata. And those three matches right there, that's some stuff. Let me say, they're just putting them on iPay-per-views, and I think that New Japan is just showing off, because every single one of them is just like, oh my God, this is like stuff I got to see. Again, I understand, if not getting them because you can't stand not being able to have like English commentary. I get that. I do think that New Japan needs to put have an English commentary feed. I really do. Hopefully at some point, if these keep being successful, we might get that. But yeah, this was good stuff. I really enjoyed it, and it was definitely the show of the weekend. I definitely thought it was better than the Dragon Gate show, just because it did have a little bit more grandeur to it. The two things on the Dragon Gate show that were bad were really bad, and the only thing on this show that I would say was not good was still pretty good. It was still, it wasn't anything that was horrible. There was definitely, there's definitely stuff we've seen on, almost any other pay-per-view that was worse than this. So no problems there whatsoever. So anyways, to review, WrestleMania, okay. Raw, must see, and the New Japan show, definitely must see. So with that, I'm out. Hopefully I will talk to you guys soon. We will see about that. Who knows? Later.